Good afternoon, everybody. In this video, we're going to look at Bitcoin, the crypto stocks, and a trading mistake that I made trying to long ETH over the weekend. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Charting Man Dan of TheChartGuys. I've been trading crypto for the last 6 years, trading stocks for the last 13 years, and we have some solid strength out there. We're also going to talk about the rotation we're seeing into the altcoin space, how we use the BTC pairings for clues. Litecoin gave a nice clue for the bears recently here. Let's get into it. Appreciate you all joining. Hope you're having a good holiday weekend, half day, day off tomorrow. So Bitcoin, bull flags in play, absolutely. So daily EMA 12, we use that guide very often, and we're still using it now. So we're testing the upper area of our range, and this resistance is in play, and pretty much we're shaping up where worst case scenario in the short term, we fail this resistance and we look for a pullback to try and hold the low of consolidation, 29.4 thousand. So the burden is on bears to prove to us that this is not a bull flag, because this is a bull flag. 2-day time frame, measure our retracement size, drop down, didn't even hit 382, and we know any consolidation above 382 retracement keeps the bull flag in play. And the bulls really want to confirm this flag because at this point in time, it's pretty much a double top. We only broke resistance by just over 1%. And so the bulls are looking good. We had a nice day today for the bulls. Now we're just tightening up sideways, and stocks were open for the first half of the day. We had a nice little 15-minute tightening range break bull, and now we've got another tightening range. Let's see what time frame's the best. Let's just stick with the hourly. Hourly inside bars. Currently on our third. If it breaks bear, we look for an hourly high or low. Anything above 30.5 thousand with space to do it. And if we break bull, we're going to be looking up right at that recent high. It's pretty much 31.2, 31.4 as our resistance zone right now. So bull's still looking pretty good. And what we've been seeing over the weekend is rotation into alts. And one way to identify that is by the alt BTC pairings, but another way is just checking in on the dominance chart. And we know that the most common form of rotation into altcoins, and we know this through observation for the last 6 years, is when Bitcoin has a bull break, it trades sideways without showing any significant weakness. It trades range bound and sideways. And we see the dominance chart drop, showing us that while Bitcoin is chilling out and not doing much, the altcoins are catching up. And so that's what we've seen happen here, where we've got sideways action. Let's just go to the 12-hour to zoom in a little bit. So we had a wide range initially, high, low, and then you can see here really nothing went on for 2.5 days. 5 candles is 2.5 days of trading. And while that was taking place, those 5 candles of sideways, we had the dominance chart dropping. 12-hour time frame, it was a bear flag. Little bear flag confirmed. And so again, over the weekend, the altcoin bulls played a little bit of catch up. And they were just popping off one at a time, couple at a time, taking their turn. We have to keep in mind, yes, there's altcoin rotation that went on. And there was a shift. Look at this daily candle in the dominance chart. And again, I know some people don't like the dominance chart because stable coins are included, but we're not trading this chart. It's just giving us a little bit of information. It's a little puzzle piece, and that is good enough to be paying attention to. So this daily candle on the dominance chart shows us the biggest shift out of Bitcoin and into altcoins in a one-day period that we've seen in many, many months. I mean, this was a bigger shift. This was a bigger shift. This was a bigger shift because it lasted days. But in terms of a one-day shift, that's the biggest red candle on this dominance chart in a long time. And so that's the biggest one-day shift in a long time. If this is going to continue, we're just treating it like trends. We have to confirm a daily downtrend into weekly consolidation if we're going to continue to see rotation into alts. So in an ideal scenario, if I'm an altcoin bull, what I want to see is a Bitcoin bull break to a higher high, confirming this bull flag. While that happens, the dominance chart gets a bounce on the daily, And then we go back to some sideways range on Bitcoin and see that downtrend confirm on the dominance chart. So just keep in mind, if I'm an altcoin bull, that's the ideal scenario of how things would play out from here. If Bitcoin shows weakness and the dominance chart drops, that's not ideal because that shows weakness and a little bit, if Bitcoin's dropping, altcoin bulls are not as gung-ho. They're not, firing on all cylinders. They want to have confidence in Bitcoin and they want to have confidence in the broader stock market. They want to see weakness in the dollar and they want to see the dominance chart dropping. Checking back in on the market real quick. NASDAQ still strong. We're in laggard bull mode in the entire market. Anything that hasn't been bouncing over the last few months, as long as the S&P 500 and NASDAQ keep heading higher, and just as long as they just don't show any fear, we're scouting for things that have not bounced yet significantly to do so. And so we've got the dollar, weekly equilibrium. Watch very closely. If this breaks bear, that's a good sign for crypto. Anything under 104.70 is a weekly lower high on the dollar, and anticipating in July this pattern will likely break. If not, then certainly first thing in August. So all that said, crypto stocks, beautiful follow through. The bulls could not have asked for better follow through from this sideways range where there's been a couple pullbacks. It's definitely volatile, but just higher lows. We haven't even touched daily EMA 12 since that breakout. And we're now up 50% from that breakout. And we're looking at 1562 and 1888 as the next resistance levels. All bulls. Bull cross of the EMAs, 4-month long-term bounce underway. Bitcoin started its 4-month bounce a while ago. Crypto stocks were laggards to that, but they are certainly playing catch up. And again, these crypto stocks magnify Bitcoin moves in both directions. MARA from our fear low is up a whole bunch. 500%. Nope. Almost 400%. So we're almost up 400%, and obviously Bitcoin is not almost up 400%. It's up 100% from the fear lows. So again, it leads the way down, percentage-wise. It's just a leveraged version. If ETFs are approved, which we're going to continue keeping an eye on, and part of the bull news today was refiling the ETFs, because we know last week there was that headline that was a little bit misleading, saying, hey, these aren't complete, need to fix some things, and then resubmit the ETF attempts. And so some of those are being resubmitted now. And the point I was making with that was, if we see ETFs approved, then I anticipate that these trading instruments will diminish in volume. Because I know I personally use these names as my Bitcoin alternative, just in terms of being more volatile, no fees trading. And I know there's, again, anything to do with markets, if I'm doing it as a full-time trader, I know that there are thousands or tens of thousands of other people doing the same thing. I'm not that unique. And so, something to keep an eye on. But for now, the bulls have full control. MARA, Coin, another one. Coin is squeezing shorts. Anybody that shorted on SEC fears or news with Coin is underwater. And we're up 80% very quickly. And Coin is trying to confirm a monthly inverse head and shoulders. And if we break 87.63, the monthly inverse head and shoulders confirms. And we then zoom out, and the 4-month bounce will be underway and looking for some follow through. So longer term bottoms are trying to be set here with this base of sideways support, and now trying to confirm the trend changes. And Riot is the other name. Riot is not nearly as strong as MARA, but playing a little bit of catch up. 1443 needs to break. MARA divided by Riot, just like we do ETH divided by BTC. We can do MARA divided by Riot and see MARA has been the stronger name for weeks. And over the last day, it's shifting a little bit, but treating this as a trend, and as long as it remains in an uptrend, MARA is the better bull. We'll see if Riot plays the laggard catch-up game. So strong Bitcoin, strong crypto stocks. Now let's talk about some altcoins. Let's go into my mistake. So my mistake, I was looking for a long on ETH And the reason I was looking for a long on ETH and not Bitcoin was recognizing the shift in the dominance chart, recognizing the altcoins were getting a bit of rotation, and watching ETH BTC for a weekly falling wedge. Again, as I've talked about a few times in these videos, long-term time frame, 3-month chart on ETH BTC, for me, a 3-month higher low is the most likely scenario here. And it's anything above 4.9. So I'm anticipating that that's the most likely scenario and that we can tighten up through the end of the year if that takes place. So the weekly time frame is keeping a falling wedge in play. And we were previously watching this and we had a downtrend resistance line that looked something like this. And we said, okay, well, that's a bull break, but we know price levels matter more than trend lines, and we failed the price level. We double topped and rolled over. And so now what I do is, now that we bounced off this support again, I say, all right, well, that's still valid for me. So let's adjust our resistance line. Still got 3 touches for validity. And now I'm watching this. And that happens multiple times. And again, a recent example is S&P 500 had an hourly falling wedge that I was watching. And it broke bull with no follow through. And then it kept the falling wedge aspect alive, and that told me zoom out and look for a 4-hour falling wedge. So I was watching it here, I believe. Bull break, no follow through, and then, okay, well, we're still holding the downtrending support, so then zoomed out to the 4-hour. And again, you do this often with patterns. If you have a 5-minute equilibrium that breaks, zoom out to the 15-minute or the hourly, and we often form an equilibrium then on that time frame. These time frames are fractals within each other. And again, if you have not seen it yet, go to our YouTube channel and watch the webinars that Jungle Funk Joey put on. And they're on our main page, Lessons and More. The first one is how to create, the first one is how to utilize different time frames. And then the follow-up, second building block off of that is identifying the most likely scenarios. Watch those two. You got a whole almost 3 hours of a lecture about key concepts of trading. And so my point is how these time frames interact with each other. They often overlap the same patterns, and you have to zoom out and then recognize that same pattern on a different time frame. So for ETH BTC, long story short, bulls have to confirm a daily uptrend from here. I'm viewing this all as the same bounce. And I know it's the exact inverse of the dominance chart. So the dominance chart that we just went over, if we confirm the daily downtrend, that means ETH BTC will very likely be confirming a daily uptrend. And that will then make it a lot more convincing bouncing off this downtrending support. And then we watch our downtrending resistance, and we may not get, a break of this pattern for another couple months, but watching to see if we can get some bounce follow through off this downtrending support. All that said, I was looking for the entry in ETH because I was looking for this to be the result, a 12-hour higher low and bounce continuation. We got that. My issue was looking at a base of support and playing off the base of support. We had a low at that point, 1908, and a low at 1909. And I say, all right, I'm looking at ETH and I'm looking long. I made an entry, maybe 1922, something like that. And I put my stop under 1900 psychological. And I said, all right, nice close stop nearby. And my mistake was not doing the math because the position size that I had was a swing-sized position. And I essentially took the profit or the cash that I had, as I mentioned, from my Bitcoin swing that I sold over 31,000 a week ago. I took that position and put it into ETH. And when I stopped out, we had a low volume, low liquidity weekend scam wick, whatever you want to call it. I like to call them jerk wicks. So this jerk wick here is what stopped me out, where it was just huge volume out of nowhere, big drop, the kind of move where, you go on social media and see, is there news going on right now? And then we just V-shape and get it all back. It's just a stop hunt. and Bitcoin did the same thing. And so I stopped out, and then I look at my loss, and my loss is a 20% day loser, which is nothing. You know, I can make back a 20% day loser with my eyes closed. And so my response to that was, darn, my stop was way too tight for my position size. If I had a very large position, tight stop, absolutely, because I don't want a large amount of dollar risk. But I could have easily risked, you know, if I risked a half day maker, which is, again, day maker is the goal that I have to make on a daily basis trading the market. I could risk half of that, and I'd still be in this long. So my mistake was, for the position size that I had, my stop was too tight. And position size is a big dictator of where my stops go. And vice versa. Where I'm looking to put a stop is a big dictator of the size of the position that I'll grab. If I'm bottom fishing and my stop is right there, I'll take a real large position because the risk is real small. If I'm swing trading and my stop is far away, I'm taking a much smaller position because my stop is much further away. So in the end, and it wasn't the kind of thing where, you know, I wanted to jump back in because I wasn't on the computer. You know, I'm not spending the weekend trading on the computer anymore. That was back in 2017, 2018. And so, you know, that was my shot. And pretty much was not trading at any point for the rest of the weekend. So they got me. Touche, Mr. Liquidity Bears. Now we're going to look for ETH to form a 4-hour high or low. Anything above 1885. Lots of space for that to form. And the next resistance is going to be up at 2020. Litecoin. So there were some red. Litecoin obviously leading the bull move up. Still the dangling carrot narrative of the halving coming up. Got to close this door real quick. We got the AC on these days. So we've got the halving coming up, which is that too bright? I don't like it. The halving's coming up, which is the dangling carrot. And we're going to keep an eye on the Litecoin bulls as long as that narrative keeps going. And we're going to also be watching for a potential sell the news event. The more we run into the end of July, the more likely it'll be a sell the news event, because right now the halving is set for early August, estimated. But we saw not only the strength, but the weakness. The first red flag for weakness was in our BTC pairing. So also the fact that we broke bull, you know, bull breaks here with a lack of follow through, rising wedge type of pattern. So that's one factor. But for me, it was all about the BTC pairing. And this is what the rising wedge looked like. But the BTC pairing gave us the clue because you can see here, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, bull break of resistance. LTC, BTC did not break bull. We know that our strongest altcoin bulls see the spotlight. And what I refer to as spotlight is directly correlating both pairings. They're doing the exact same thing in uptrends. And so as soon as LTC, BTC sets a lower high, that's our first red flag. It doesn't mean we're about to dump. It just means Litecoin is weakening. The spotlight is fading. And so that can be the first indication. Maybe I want to hedge my longs. Maybe I want to take some long profit. Maybe I want to scout an aggressive short. And it's still an aggressive short because we're still in an uptrend on all time frames on Litecoin when that happened. And so then we failed that level and pulled back on the 4-hour time frame. And the LTC BTC pairing is leading the way down. Now we just hit Litecoin hourly oversold backburner, first hourly oversold conditions after the daily breakout. So bulls are attempting to get a bounce going. I'd be on the 15-minute time frame watching for a top of this bounce. We got a stair step bull bounce. When we lose the stair step, can the bulls confirm a 15-minute uptrend for the hourly bounce to get some follow through? We then watch hourly EMA 12, and we know anything under 110.55 is just an hourly lower high. But if we confirm the 15-minute uptrend, that's certainly enough bounce for anybody playing the hourly oversold bounce to be in a risk-free position at that point. And just watching some of the TheChartGuys members trading this bounce right now, they're already scaling out some positions, you know, a third of the position or whatever it is, to be in full control of the trade. So Litecoin is going to be looking for a daily high or low, but we haven't started daily consolidation yet. We've also got to be watching for the possibility of a 4-hour head and shoulders. Now, would I be taking that short, looking for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce? If I'm holding swing longs that I am not planning on selling in the near term, potentially utilizing that as a hedge. Or if LTC BTC continues to give us signals that it is weakening and losing the spotlight. But we're keeping in mind that if that dominance chart confirms a daily downtrend, LTC BTC potentially positioned well. We got to confirm the daily uptrend. Can't forget that. This move is huge, but we haven't confirmed a daily uptrend yet as a result of this move. So big, hard, fast moves are great, but trend changes are needed for follow through. So don't forget that aspect of the game. A couple other alts that we've been keeping an eye on. So RNDR, we are watching for the potential of a weekly head and shoulders. And the bulls are on their way to negate it here. They're attempting to. And it's already becoming less likely. So we set a weekly lower high. And then we bounced and set a daily lower high. And so if we're going to confirm that head and shoulders, bears need to confirm that daily downtrend. And as soon as we set this higher low, and as soon as we broke 210, which was the top of that little bounce, we confirm a daily uptrend that makes the weekly head and shoulders less likely. At this point, it's just a little weekly equilibrium, high, low, lower, high, higher, low. So I change the pattern that I'm watching. I'm initially watching for a potential head and shoulders. I recognize the bears lacking the follow through to confirm a daily downtrend and get that move going. And so now I shift. Okay, still, you can still make the argument it's a possible head and shoulders, but I'm focused now on the equilibrium. And I'm removing the bear bias from the head and shoulders and saying, okay, well, we still have higher lows and Bitcoin still looks good. So now I'm just treating it like an equilibrium that can absolutely break in either direction. And RNDR is one of the few names that has a BTC pairing that is technically still in longer term uptrends. But the bulls need to see continued shift. If I'm an RNDR bull, I want to see Bitcoin stay strong. I want to see the dominance chart continue to hit fresh lows. And I want to see RNDR BTC start a weekly bounce, which it actually just did. But let's see some follow through. We haven't closed over daily EMA 12 resistance pretty much in an entire month. And that's what the bulls are attempting to do today, but still battling. Another name to keep an eye on, I like the clarity on the XRP weekly time frame. Let's watch for an equilibrium. After significant volatility, we know an equilibrium is the most likely scenario, where we've got our low, high, higher low, retracement of over 50%, makes the equilibrium most likely. We fail resistance, and now we're pulling back. Plenty of space for the weekly higher low to try and form compared to 41 cents. Still holding weekly EMA 12 the last few weeks. And now the question is, can XRP bulls shape up a daily uptrend? Next time we top out, can we confirm a daily uptrend to set the weekly higher low? And if the answer is yes, then we're going to continue tightening up a good bit through July, and we'll be watching for a break of this tightening range. And not only is it a tightening weekly range, look at the monthly chart. Nah, I take that back. We did break monthly resistance. Stick with the weekly. Tightening weekly range, scouting the weekly higher low. And of course, we're watching the BTC pairing for any clues. And we know that the BTC pairing has to show us a sign of some confidence for the weekly higher low to have confidence. Right now, it's a bear flag confirmed, and now a potential bear flag unless we get over daily EMA 12. So that's something to be keeping an eye on. XRP has not been participating as an altcoin bull rotation name in any significant way over the last month. And so this is a name that I would put on my watch list and say, okay, I'm now watching XRP for signs that the BTC pairing is shifting as the US dollar pairing is trying to set the weekly higher low. And again, if you're watching this right now and it's all going over your head because you're in your first year or two of trading, that's perfectly fine, because I had no idea what any of this meant in terms of the altcoin BTC pairing charts in my first 2 to 3 years of trading crypto, which was my 8th year of trading in general. So again, just give yourself patience. And actually, after this live stream, I'm going to go have lunch with Jungle Funk, and we're going to brainstorm a webinar that I'm going to do talking about the different phases of being a trader, what you should expect in your first couple years, what you should expect year 3 through 5, what you should expect after that. Because I know a lot of people watch other people trading that have been doing it for a long time, and you gotta go from crawling to learning to walk and learning to run. And people just want to go from crawling to running, and you can't do that. All right, what's Bitcoin doing in the short term? Then I'll start reading your lovely messages in the chat room. Still tightening up on the hourly. Could easily see another hourly inside bar close. All right. Hey, Jada from England. What's up, Jonathan? Downstairs in the house. STX. So STX, weekly high or low? No, inside bars. So let's go to the 2-day. This is why am I choosing the 2-day here? Because you look at this and say, well, okay, this is a daily downtrend, and for me, it's just I want to smooth it out. If we go to the 2-day time frame, it's a little bit smoother to me. And I can look, okay, what's our retracement size here? We pulled back over 50%. I know a tightening range on the 2-day time frame is the most likely scenario. Looking for a lower high compared to 878 and watching to potentially tighten up through the first half of July. But there's no sign that we're topping out yet. The first indication would be a loss of the 4-hour uptrend. You can see that we've got a 4-hour uptrend as a guide. You could go to the 12-hour time frame if you want. I like the 4-hour for clarity in this example. So anything above 672 will be a 4-hour high or low, and bulls just want to keep that 4-hour uptrend going as long as possible. When we lose the 4-hour uptrend, it's the first indication that that 2-day lower high is potentially shaping up. STX BTC, are there any clues? Doing the same thing. Not much difference. So no information there for me. But I know to keep checking in on it and keep an eye on it because it could potentially give me some information. If I'm a bull, I want to see, ideally, STX BTC leading, showing me a stronger uptrend than STX USDT. If not, I'll settle for them doing the same thing. That's second best. And of course, the red flag would be if the BTC pairing is showing us weakness and it is weaker than the uptrend on the US dollar pairing. BCH has certainly had a run, huh? BCH USDT. So massive move up. We're watching for a daily high or low. Anything above wherever we came from. Tons of space. But also keeping in mind, we just ran over 100% very quickly. Have we hit hourly oversold yet? I would say, so here's a good lesson on back burners. Did we hit hourly oversold? At the low of this candle, the hourly RSI was probably down right at about 30.7 or 31.2, somewhere in that range. And so did we hit hourly oversold? Technically no, but bulls front ran hourly oversold conditions. And by front running, I just mean they start buying before we get there. It's almost just imagine everybody waiting in line to get a Furby, and there's some people that are willing to skip the line and pay more. Yeah, I'll pay more, but I'm going to the front of the line. And so the people that are patiently waiting in line at oversold, the Furbies run out, and they don't get them. So that's front running. And so we bounced 15% in response to first, in response to, again, so now do I look at first hourly oversold and treat it as a back burner? No. That, I say, we didn't officially hit it, but that's the hourly back burner. So we could still bounce from when we do see hourly conditions from here, hourly oversold conditions, but I don't treat it the same way. It's almost like it got used up. So next we could look to the 4-hour for oversold conditions. Keep an eye on a downtrending support line. 4-hour RSI is not close to oversold. It's not happening anytime soon. So I'm also watching daily EMA 12 support. And the question is, can the bulls confirm a 4-hour uptrend to set the daily high or low? Big bounce, high or low, fail the uptrend, heading back towards the low of consolidation. So unaggressive bull can be watching for first true hourly oversold conditions. I would want to see 15-minute, 5-minute, everything oversold if I were going to try for an hourly oversold bounce here. But again, we got to keep in mind that we're in a rotation game right now, and people are taking their BCH profits and going elsewhere. Same thing with Litecoin. You know, Litecoin was the lead bull in a big way for a few days, and now there's profit taking, and those profits are probably going to go to other coins that have not run yet. There's somebody out there who is taking Litecoin profit and putting it into XRP. Another thing to remember, yes, we got a strong Bitcoin. Yes, we got a strong broader market. Yes, we've got some rotation into alts. We're not going to forget that a ton of altcoins are still looking at a weekly lower high as the most likely scenario. Look at Sand. Sand resistance is 615, which means we can go 20% from here and still be in a weekly downtrend. Mana, anything under 54 cents. We can go 25% and still be in a weekly downtrend. We haven't even tested weekly EMA 12 yet. Ape. I don't follow NFTs, but I'm seeing a lot of despair on Twitter, and Ape is a lead bear in response to that. It's a potential weekly bear flag still. So we can get caught up in narratives and hype and gains and flashing numbers, but just remember to keep looking at the longer term time frames and remind yourself of what most likely scenarios are. And there's a bunch of altcoins that are in weekly downtrends where a weekly lower high is still on the table as the most likely scenario. Link has a big enough bounce where a weekly higher low will be the most likely scenario as a result of next consolidation. SHIB. So SHIB BTC. Guess that's not very useful, huh? Hard to divide such a small number by a large number. SHIB USDT. 2-day time frame for clarity. Bulls must break 850 to confirm a 2-day uptrend. There are many altcoins that are currently confirming 2-day uptrends. And they are, Link just did it. ADA has not done it. This is a way that you can, if you want to look at names in the short term, look at their 2-day. Matic is trying to do it. So plenty of names have done it. Binance failed. RNDR, a lot of space for that lower high. Atom did it. So ICP, 2-day uptrend. Atom, 2-day uptrend confirmed. But a lot of names haven't done it yet. And so SHIB, if we can't get over 850, bears keep bigger picture control. And we can just treat this as an equilibrium. Low, high, higher, low. Are we going to set a lower high compared to 850 and keep tightening up? We would have to lose the 4-hour uptrend. And actually this one I'd probably be on the 12-hour. Have to lose the 12-hour higher lows for the 2-day lower high to be set. Any name that is not confirming a 2-day uptrend is weaker in the short term compared to names that already are. So be a skeptic. Prove it to me, bulls. Get over 850 and prove the 2-day uptrend. Otherwise, we're just still in the tightening 2-day range. .BTC. Daily uptrend confirmed. Good sign. Still a clear long-term weekly downtrend. Tons of work has to be done to shift this momentum. US dollar pairing. 2-day uptrend confirmed. Good sign. Got a little bit of a resistance zone that we peaked over, but unable to stay over. So this is another name similar to Link where the weekly bounce is big enough to try for a weekly higher low as the result of next consolidation. We're still in a daily uptrend. Still in a 4-hour uptrend. So we're testing 4-hour EMA 12 right now. If we hold it, we can look for an attempt at continuation. If we lose it, we're then going to be creating the space for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce, potentially shaping up a downtrend. If we confirm a 4-hour downtrend, we then look for the daily consolidation. Notice how many times in my analysis I say if. Because if we hold 4-hour EMA 12, my most likely scenario is going to be significantly different than if we do not. The probability of confirming a 4-hour downtrend will increase significantly if we lose 4-hour EMA 12 and create the space for that lower high. So 4-hour uptrend, if we lose it, we go to the daily, and we scout the daily high or low, or the 2-day, whatever time frame you like better. If we lose the daily uptrend, we zoom out, we'll scout the weekly high or low, knowing that we must confirm a weekly uptrend if we're going to hold the fear bottom. Look at the monthly chart. The monthly chart is trying to hold the fear bottom. It's essentially a double bottom. We broke it by 2 pennies, but anything less than 1%, I consider that a double bottom, especially in crypto. So if we're going to get a convincing monthly bounce, we must eventually confirm the weekly uptrend. INJ, definitely a stronger BTC pairing. What's up, Ian? Potential for an equilibrium, though. Got to be cautious if we reject here. Watch those daily higher lows. So 12-hour, if we confirm the 12-hour downtrend, daily consolidation underway. And again, possible that this is a weekly equilibrium. So win over XRP. Year 4 is when you know what you don't know. I can agree with that for sure. There's one more I missed. XLM. So big old bounce must confirm an uptrend. What you will see, and this is a perfect example, what you will often see is when one direction has complete control, everybody gets on one side of the boat, and you get a fast, hard move in the other direction. It's like a reset. It's a rebalancing of the scales. And if the scales, okay, so let's just view it in supply and demand. XLM, downtrend forever. So let's just say supply is outweighing demand. And then that big spike up has the scales do this. And if we confirm the daily uptrend, the scales stay flipped. Demand starts exceeding supply. If we see the pop and fade, never confirming a daily uptrend, the scales rebalanced real quickly and then stayed with supply outweighing demand. So we're watching this retracement size, and we're already pulling back towards 50%, not quite there. If we get there, we know an uptrend confirming is less likely, and an equilibrium then becomes more likely. And again, go to those webinars if that's new information to you. And it's the same thing with CGC. Cannabis stock in free fall to zero. And look at today. 50% plus bull move out of nowhere because everybody was short. Everybody on one side of the boat, and then it flips really quickly. Now, this move is not going to put in a long-term bottom unless once it tops out, once the scales chill out a little bit from the reset, it will not put in a longer-term bottom unless we confirm a daily uptrend. And another cannabis stock, ACB, shows perfect examples in its history of that happening. Look at how many times we had the scales tilt, all bear control, big bounce. That's a 57% bounce. Never confirmed a clear daily uptrend. It's just a resetting of the scales and a reshort opportunity. Big bounce. Can we confirm a daily uptrend? No. 50% bounce wasted. Back to fresh lows. So bears use those big moves as another opportunity to jump in short if no trend change occurs, and we just fade on back down again. So Let's look at the US dollar pairing. So XLM, again, even the US dollar pairing has not confirmed the uptrends here. So that's the next step. Great move. Big, fast gains. Exciting. If you want follow through, you've got to confirm the trends. Trying to build a base of support on the longer term time frames. Good sign breaking 1146, getting to the highest level in 6-7 months. But you've got to confirm the trends. Don't fade. You can pull back a good bit. Watch those retracement size. Hold 382 ideally. Daily EMA 12 will be there shortly. Find a support level and keep those scales flipped. Supply was outweighing demand for a long time. I mean, look at this example. And then we just fade forever again. And there were some trend changes in there, so it's not a good example of just a straight up move. But you can look back at that and say, okay, we have to ensure that that same thing is not just happening again. So what has to be different? 2-day time frame. Let's just go back historically. Always look at the history of whatever instrument you're trading, because different things do different things. There are some stocks that love breaking resistance with zero follow through. NIO, RIOT, Riot, they do that a lot more than Tesla does. Certain stocks, certain crypto, they have characteristics, and you can get some clues from previous price action. And so we had a 2-day breakout, consolidation, no red flags, declining bear volume, retracement looking good. As soon as you confirm that 2-day downtrend, we're giving it back. Big bear candle. So now let's do the same thing. 2-day time frame on this move. Retracement's fine. Consolidation only just getting underway. Once we set that higher low, if we confirm a 2-day downtrend, it's going to be here we go again. So you have to ensure that that does not happen. Something different has to shape up. All right. Appreciate you all tuning in. I got to get out of here. Yard work to do. Webinar brainstorming to do. Holiday tomorrow. Don't forget to do good things. Watch the dominance chart. Does the dominance chart confirm the daily downtrend? That's the next most important bit of information for me in the crypto space over the next 3 trading days, maybe 4. Thanks again. Appreciate the likes and shares and support. Make sure and get outside.